claims to show an animal that went extinct 4,000 years ago still alive and in the wild.
Tasmanian tiger. This is the only one in captivity in the world.
The invention of the camera in the early 19th century transformed our ability to capture and preserve memories of nature, plants, landscapes, water bodies, and most especially, animals. Before cameras, many extinct animals were known only through drawing and imagination. But with the advent of photography, we have gained invaluable visual records of species that have since disappeared. Today, we will explore the last known photographs of 10 extinct animals, immortalized through the lens, allowing us to witness their true forms and remember the incredible biodiversity we have lost. Number 10. Quagga. Known to be about 8.5 feet long with a shoulder height of around 4.5 feet, the quagga was a remarkable and distinctive subspecies of the plains zebra native to South Africa. What made the quagga particularly special was its unique appearance, which set it apart from other zebras. Unlike its fully striped relatives, the quagga had striking patterns with prominent stripes on its head, neck, and front portion of its body, while its rear was mostly unstriped and featured a brownish coat. Its head and neck bore bold black and white stripes, which gradually faded into a more solid brownish color towards the hindquarters. This distinctive coloration made the quagga easily recognizable and an iconic figure among African wildlife. The quagga inhabited the grassy plains of the Karoo and southern parts of the Orange Free State in South Africa. It lived in herds and had a social structure similar to that of other zebras, with a dominant stallion leading a group of mares and their young. The quagga grazed primarily on grasses, which were abundant in its native habitat. With the arrival of European settlers in South Africa, the quagga was hunted extensively for its meat and hide. Additionally, settlers sought to eliminate competition for grazing land with their domestic livestock. This relentless hunting, combined with habitat destruction, led to a rapid decline in quagga populations. The last known wild quagga was likely killed in the late 1870s. The final documented quagga lived in the Amsterdam Zoo, then known as Artis Magistra Zoo, and died on August 12, 1883. The last known photograph of a living quagga was taken of this individual in the 1870s. Despite its extinction, the quagga has not been forgotten. In recent years, there has been an effort known as the Quagga Project, which aims to bring back the quagga through selective breeding. By using plain zebras with similar striping patterns to those of the quagga, researchers hope to recreate the appearance and some characteristics of the extinct subspecies. Although these animals are not true quaggas, they represent a significant step towards understanding and possibly restoring the lost phenotype. Number 9. Passenger pigeon. How could the most abundant bird in North America go extinct so quickly? The short answer is humans. In under a century, the passenger pigeon went from being the most common bird to being completely extinct. The passenger pigeon, scientifically called Ectopistes migratorius, was once one of the most abundant bird species in North America, numbering in the billions during the 19th century. This remarkable bird was known for its massive flocks, which could darken the skies for hours or even days as they passed overhead. The passenger pigeon was a medium-sized bird, measuring about 15 to 16 inches in length, with a wingspan of approximately 24 inches. Males were slightly larger than females, with a distinctive slate blue head, neck, and rump, and a pinkish color on the breast. Females were generally duller in color, with more muted browns and grays. One of the most noticeable characteristics of the passenger pigeon was its incredible speed and agility in flight. These birds could reach speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, making them among the fastest flying birds. Their long pointed wings and streamlined bodies were perfectly adapted for their highly mobile lifestyle. Passenger pigeons were also known for their social behavior, often traveling in flocks that could number in the millions. These flocks were so dense and extensive that they were described as feathered storms by early observers. They primarily fed on a diet of seeds, nuts, and fruits, with acorns and beech nuts being particular favorites. During the breeding season, they nested in large colonies, sometimes covering several square miles. The decline of the passenger pigeon population began in the late 19th century, largely due to unregulated hunting and habitat destruction. These birds were hunted extensively for their meat, which was cheap and widely consumed. Additionally, their breeding grounds were destroyed as forests were cleared for agriculture and urban development. The sheer scale of hunting was staggering, with millions of birds being killed each year. The last large-scale nesting of passenger pigeons was reported in the early 1890s. By the turn of the 20th century, their numbers had plummeted to the brink of extinction. The last confirmed wild passenger pigeon was shot in 1901 in Ohio. Despite various conservation efforts, the remaining population was too small to recover. Martha, the last known passenger pigeon, lived in captivity at the Cincinnati Zoo. She died on September 1, 1914, marking the official extinction of the species. The last known photographs of Martha were taken shortly before her death. Number 8. Tule-H wallaby. The Tule-H wallaby, also known as the Gray's wallaby, was built to be swift, speedy, and agile. But this was not enough to escape man's detrimental impact on its population. Less than 100 years ago, this Australian animal went extinct. According to those around to observe it, the Tule-H wallaby was the most graceful and elegant wallaby or kangaroo species. It was renowned for its elegance, grace, and agility, with a pale, ashy-brown pelt and striking black markings, including a distinctive stripe from its snout to ear. This marsupial had a unique hopping pattern of 2 short hops followed by a long one, making it a captivating sight in its natural habitat. The Tule-H wallaby had a slim, graceful build, and was known for its unusual and rapid movements, outpacing most terrestrial predators with ease. It possessed long and powerful feet for hopping and defense, along with relatively short but sufficient arms for its needs. Females of the species grew to about 84 centimeters high, slightly taller than the males, while the males had longer tails. This distinctive physical characteristic, along with its pouch for carrying and nursing young, made the Tule-H wallaby a truly unique marsupial. Its herbivorous diet consisted of grass, leaves, ferns, herbs, and sometimes fruits. It was a nocturnal forager known for its unusual and extremely rapid movements, evading even the fastest predators. The decline and eventual extinction of the Tule-H wallaby were attributed to a combination of factors, including habitat destruction, the introduction of predators, and hunting for its pelt. By the 1920s, the Tule-H wallaby's declining population gained attention, leading to a conservation effort. In this effort, Europeans attempted to capture several Tule-Hs and breed them in a protected setting. Unfortunately, this proved disastrous. Most of the wallabies died of exhaustion and shock from the pursuit. The last wild sightings were recorded in 1924, and the last known captive individual survived until 1939. Sadly, the species is presumed to be extinct, with the last known picture being captured before its extinction. Extensive research has been conducted in the region, but no members of the species have been officially sighted since the 1970s. Number 7. Golden toad. With its last recorded sighting in 1989 and the species officially listed as extinct in 2004, according to the IUCN Red List, the golden toad, scientifically called Encelius peregrinis, is sadly believed to be extinct. Their common name can be attributed to the strikingly vibrant golden-orange skin of male golden toads, which is unusual among amphibians. Their females had dark to pale olive skin with yellow outlined red spots. They were a small toad species, reaching lengths of up to 5.5 centimeters, with females typically larger than males. Golden toads were native to the high-altitude cloud forests of Costa Rica, around 1,500 meters above sea level, an ecosystem characterized by high humidity, constant mist, and a canopy of foliage. The species was highly sensitive and vulnerable to environmental changes. Golden toads were known for their unique mating behavior and the fierce competition between males for mating opportunities. They were quite integral to the food web of their ecosystem and served as bioindicators, reflecting the health of their environment. The golden toad's diet mainly consisted of insects, and they played a vital role in the food web, influencing the balance of local insect populations. One of the theories for the extinction of the golden toad is a sudden change in climate, where even just a couple of years of abnormal weather patterns, such as severe droughts, could have wiped out their population. The other theory is that golden toads may have gone extinct after exposure to the chytrid fungus, which thrives in warm, dry conditions and has threatened several toad species around the world. Their extinction has naturally affected the rest of the food web, depriving their predators of a specific food source and risking an overpopulation of local insect prey. Despite being declared extinct, scientists have not given up hope of finding the golden toad. Efforts include extensive surveys of the species' former habitat, using advanced technology and environmental DNA sampling to detect any remaining traces. Number 6. Thylacine. The thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger, was a remarkable and unique animal native to Tasmania, Australia, and New Guinea. This fascinating creature, scientifically named Thylacinus cynocephalus, was the largest known carnivorous marsupial of modern times. It was easily recognizable by its dog-like appearance, with distinctive dark stripes running across its back and tail, which earned it the nickname Tasmanian tiger. Thylacines were roughly the size of a large dog, standing about 2 feet tall tall at the shoulder and measuring up to 6 feet from nose to tail, with the tail making up nearly half of their length. They had short, coarse fur, which was a sandy or yellow-brown color, and their characteristic stripes were more pronounced in younger animals. Their head was somewhat wolf-like, with a long snout and large, rounded ears. Despite their dog-like appearance, thylacines were marsupials, meaning they carried their young in a pouch, like kangaroos and koalas. One of the most fascinating aspects of thylacine was its biological and behavioral characteristics. Unlike placental mammals, the thylacine had a relatively low metabolic rate, which meant it could survive on less food and was less active than similarly sized placental predators. It was primarily nocturnal and crepuscular, being most active during the night and twilight hours. Thylacines were believed to be solitary hunters, preying on small to medium-sized animals such as birds, small mammals, and possibly even kangaroos. Their powerful jaws and sharp teeth were well adapted for crushing bones and consuming flesh. The last known wild thylacine was killed in 1930, but it was in captivity that we have our final photographic records of this enigmatic creature. The last known photograph of a living thylacine was taken in 1933, capturing Benjamin, the last known individual, at the Hobart Zoo in Tasmania. Benjamin lived in captivity until his death in September 1936. Marking the official extinction of the species. Several factors contributed to the thylacine's extinction. European settlers in Tasmania viewed the thylacine as a threat to their livestock and initiated widespread hunting, encouraged by bounties. Habitat destruction and the introduction of diseases, possibly transmitted by domestic dogs, also played significant roles in their decline. Despite various unverified sightings over the years, exhaustive searches and modern scientific assessments have confirmed that the thylacine is indeed extinct. Number 5. Ivory-billed woodpeckers. Ivory-billed woodpeckers, also known as Campephalus principalis, were the largest woodpeckers in North America, renowned for their striking appearance and distinctive calls. With their impressive size, measuring up to 20 inches in length and a wingspan of nearly 30 inches, they were a majestic sight. Their striking features included a jet-black body, a white bill, and vibrant red crest and throat patches. They inhabited old-growth forests, particularly bottomland hardwood forests and swamps. These woodpeckers were known for their drumming, a rapid and powerful pecking on dead trees to communicate with potential mates and establish territories. Their drumming could be heard across the forest and was an essential part of their courtship and territorial behavior. Their diet consisted of insects, particularly beetle larvae, which they skillfully extracted from under the bark of trees using their chisel-like bills. The ivory-billed woodpecker's decline and eventual extinction were attributed to habitat loss due to deforestation, hunting, and the decline of mature bottomland hardwood forests. Their last confirmed sighting was in 1944 in Louisiana, and the last known image of an ivory-billed woodpecker was captured in the Singer Tract in Louisiana in 1935 by the renowned naturalist James Tanner. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service designated the ivory-billed woodpecker as an endangered species in 1967, and it was later listed as extinct under the Endangered Species Act in 1970. Despite extensive searches and unverified sightings over the years, the species was officially declared extinct in September 2021. Efforts to find evidence of their continued existence, including sightings, calls, and nesting activities, have been ongoing. However, these efforts have not led to any conclusive evidence of the species' survival. Okay, it's time for our subscribers' pick. Let's take a look at this fascinating photo. This is believed to be the last known photograph of a Barbary lion in the wild, reportedly taken by Marcelin Flandrin, a photographer for the French army, in 1925. Prior to the 18th century, Barbary lions, also known as the North African lion, still roamed widely across the Maghreb region of North Africa, from Morocco to Egypt. Everything comes together to form an amazing photo, from the unmistakable and symbolic silhouette to the long trail of footprints in the sand, to the fact that the hulking mountains make the lion look tiny. Even if the photographer did not realize that the lion was the last of its kind, the photo still conveys a sense of loneliness and isolation. As we look at this lion, we can't help but wonder what was going through its mind. Was it calling out to a distant mate, yearning for the companionship that had become so rare? Or was it the loneliness of being one of the last of its kind that filled its roar with a deep, resonating sorrow? What emotions does this photo evoke in you? Do you see a story of a call for help or a moment of quiet reflection? You can share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Number 4. Heath hen. The heath hen was a subspecies of the greater prairie chicken that was once found along the eastern seaboard of the United States. These ground-dwelling game birds were known for their unique mating rituals, where the males would gather in leks and perform elaborate displays to attract females. With their distinctive brown and white mottled plumage, round bodies, and short, rounded tails, heath hens were well adapted to the scrubby heathland habitats of coastal New England. Their varied diet helped them thrive in their native heathland habitats. Historically, heath hens were abundant, with populations estimated in the millions across their range, that they were hunted to extinction on the mainland by 1870. By the early 19th century, the heath hen had been extirpated from most of its former range, with the last remaining population confined to the island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts. In the early 20th century, a concerted conservation effort was launched to protect the dwindling heath hen population. Hunting was banned, and the Massachusetts legislature set aside a 2,000 acres reservation on Martha's Vineyard to serve as a refuge for the birds. For a time, these efforts seemed to be paying off, with the population rebounding to around 2,000 individuals by the 1920s. Tragically, a series of devastating fires in the late 1920s decimated the heath hen population, and by the early 1930s, only a few dozen individuals remained. The last confirmed sighting of a heath hen was in 1932, and it was officially declared extinct in 1933. Number 3. Dodo bird. The dodo bird was a large, flightless avian species that called the island of Mauritius its home. The dodo, bigger than a turkey, weighed about 23 kilograms. It had blue-gray plumage, a big head, a 23 centimeters, blackish bill with a reddish sheath forming the hooked tip, small, useless wings, stout yellow legs, and a tuft of curly feathers high on its rear end. The dodo was a unique and distinctive creature. Based on scientific studies, dodo females live up to 17 years and their males up to 21. These early encounters were among the first recorded observations of this now extinct bird. There have been theories that the dodo may not always have been flightless. Dodos are related to pigeons, one group of which dispersed over water to Mauritius. There, presumably because of the lack of predators, they grew larger and became flightless. Descriptions from that era note its meat as tough and unpalatable, but the bird's lack of fear made it an easy target, contributing to its rapid extinction. Unable to effectively defend themselves or their nests, the dodos were quickly hunted, and their habitat was destroyed. The last confirmed sighting of a living dodo was in 1662, and the species was declared extinct by 1681. Number 2. Caribbean monk seal. The Caribbean monk seal, scientifically known as Neomonicus tropicalis, was a unique and fascinating marine mammal native to the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the western Atlantic Ocean. This species, also known as the West Indian monk seal or sea wolf, was the only seal species native to the Caribbean and played a vital role in the marine ecosystems of the region. Caribbean monk seals were characterized by their robust, torpedo-shaped bodies, which were well suited for life in the water. They had large, expressive eyes, and their fur ranged in color from brownish to gray, often appearing darker on the back and lighter on the belly. Adult males typically measured about 7.5 to 8 feet in length and weighed between 375 and 600 pounds, while females were slightly smaller. These seals had a layer of blubber under their skin, which provided insulation and buoyancy, crucial for their survival in the marine environment. One of the most distinctive features of the Caribbean monk seal was its relatively small, rounded head and lack of external ear flaps, which gave it a more streamlined appearance. Its flippers were short but powerful, enabling it to swim efficiently and hunt for food. Caribbean monk seals primarily feed on fish, octopuses, and crustaceans. Sadly, the Caribbean monk seal was driven to extinction by human activities. The seals were heavily hunted by European settlers and sailors from the 15th to the 19th centuries for their oil, which was used for lamps and lubricants. They were easily hunted and killed on land, as it was hard for them to escape. Overhunting drastically reduced their population, and habitat destruction further exacerbated their decline. By the 20th century, sightings had become increasingly rare. Despite extensive searches and surveys, no viable populations were found, and in 2008, the Caribbean monk seal was officially declared extinct by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. the absence of photographic records makes it challenging to pinpoint the exact date of the last known picture of a living Caribbean monk seal. Number 1. Tarpon horse. Tarpons were medium-sized horses, standing about 4.3 to 4.9 feet tall at the shoulder, that once roamed the vast steppes of Europe and Asia. This Eurasian wild horse, scientifically known as Equus ferus ferus, had a robust and muscular build suited for the harsh environments of the steppes. Their coat color changed with the seasons. In summer, they sported a short, sleek coat in a dun color, grayish or brownish with a distinct dorsal stripe. In winter, their coats became thicker and woollier, often appearing lighter to blend with the snowy landscapes. One of the most striking features of the tarpon was its mane, which stood upright rather than falling to one side like that of most modern horses. This erect mane, along with their smaller, rounded ears and a thick, sturdy tail, gave the tarpan a distinctive and somewhat primitive appearance. Their legs were strong and well adapted for traveling long distances across the steppes. Behaviorally, tarpons were similar to other wild equines, living in small herds led by a dominant stallion. These herds roamed vast areas in search of food, primarily grazing on grasses. The tarpon's migratory lifestyle saw them moving with the seasons to find suitable forage and water, making them an integral part of their ecosystem by influencing vegetation patterns and providing prey for large predators. Early societies hunted them for meat and later attempted to domesticate them, making the tarpon one of the ancestral types contributing to the genetic makeup of modern domestic horses. However, as human settlements and agriculture expanded, the tarpon's natural habitats were encroached upon. Overhunting and competition with domestic livestock further reduced their numbers, leading to their decline. The last known wild tarpon was reportedly killed in 1979 in Ukraine, marking the end of their presence in the wild. Some semi-wild populations persisted in captivity for a few more decades, but the last known tarpon, a mare, died in a Russian game preserve in the early 20th century. This image, purportedly taken in 1884, is possibly the only visual record of a live tarpan, even though its authenticity is debated. Lutz and Heinz Heck, known as the Heck brothers in Germany, were particularly notable for their efforts, resulting in the Heck horse, which resembles the tarpon in appearance but is not genetically identical. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching.